Hey everybody, my name is John Falskow. I'm the conductor of the Seattle Wind Symphony. I am also a trumpet player and music educator in the region, and I'm making this video to show young trumpeters how they might practice and prepare for the 2021 Washington State Junior All-State auditions. I hope this is helpful. I hope you choose to audition. I think it's a great goal to have, and you can really learn a lot from the preparing for the audition process. And I hope y'all make it in. It's a really cool opportunity, and the Washington Music Educator Association is just a great organization. And I think these extra opportunities embellish your wonderful experience that you have in your school bands, and offer another point of learning for you to grow as a person and as a musician. When you're getting started to audition, a couple things I want to encourage you to think through. Please practice. Be prepared. Don't try to jam this in the last day or two before the auditions are due. I think tape recordings are due in early October, so now would be a really good time to get started on this if you haven't started already. The better prepared you are, the better you'll feel about it, and possibly get a much better result. When you're practicing, talk to your band director or private teacher about some habits you should have. Do you have a good room set up to practice in? Do you have a warm-up routine established? Do you have all the materials you need and a quiet time and location for you to focus and really get a lot of positive work done? What I'm going to do now, I want to go through the different examples and give you some ideas on how you can prepare these. There are 4 different tracks. I'll link to the WMEA website in case you haven't downloaded the materials yet. But this is the WMEA Junior All-State Band audition materials. And track 1 is a scale etude. Let me give this a shot and see how it goes. All right, so it's a chromatic scale starting on low G, going up to G above the staff, 2 octaves. That can be kind of tricky. You might find that you need to practice this in segments, like maybe playing the first part of it, the low end of it is easy, and playing the high end of it is easy, but linking them together is tricky. I find that sometimes I have students that see this and they just think, it's a scale, no problem. But actually covering it and playing it really, really well takes some practice. So don't ignore this, even if you think it might look easy on the page. Another thing that I encounter with my students is sometimes they just don't know the fingerings. And there's a couple things there. It does take repetition and practice. It does take focus, and it's very doable to learn all of your fingerings on trumpets, right? We got no excuses. We got 3 valves. We can do this. But if you need a reminder, like, doggone it, I keep missing the fingering for that D sharp, pencil it in. It's not cheating to pencil in a fingering. Hopefully you'll get to a place where you don't have to pencil in fingerings, but once in a while, it's totally okay to pencil in a fingering and make sure you play it accurately. The last thing I want to point out is that there is that crescendo starting in the first bar, and the way I'm interpreting it is that it should gradually crescendo over the whole exercise. So the high G at the end is the loud note. Finally, mind the tempo. It's at 60 beats per minute. I think I was pretty close to 60 beats per minute, but you should get out your cell phone, download a metronome app, and make sure that you're playing it at the speed that people are asking. Let's talk about track 2 next. Track 2 is a dance etude. I'm going to play through it, and then I'll explain a couple ideas I have about it. Couple of cracks in there. I should probably redo it, but we'll call it good for now. So stylistically, so this is a song, right? It's not a scale. It's not a little. It sounds tuneful, and notice that the title of it is Dance Etude. So I'm interpreting that as I want it to be buoyant and light. I'm playing on the staccato side, and I'm trying to let all the notes sort of flick out of the trumpet bell and be light and little points of brilliant joy, right? Lots of little skipping notes if you want. So it's not a pecky or accented or overly aggressive staccato style. Do again mind the dynamics here. Look at the decrescendo in bar 2, which I believe should go all the way through bar 2 and 3, and then bar 4 has a crescendo, so that by bar 5 we're back at forte. I penciled in the diminuendos and crescendos, and as a matter of fact, I penciled in bar 4 a target soft dynamic. Maybe mezzo forte, maybe mezzo piano, maybe piano, but some sort of target dynamic to remind myself, hey, I need to get soft by the end of bar 3 and then get loud again as I come into bar 5. I think the challenging things here are the skips, playing the notes accurately and hitting all of the pitches really, really well. So how do I learn those intervals, those skipping around? It's not a scale. I'm jumping around these notes. How do I learn that on trumpet? Well, what I do with my students a lot is we will do sort of a variation of practicing it slowly. I want to play it loudly, so I play with confidence, and I either hit the note or I just flat out miss it, and that gives me information on where I'm not being accurate. And I'm doing it slowly, so I have a lot of time to listen and think and memorize how this goes. But the first way I'm going to do it is slow and loud and legato, very connected. Check it out. So slow, loud, legato. And if I'm chipping notes or I'm missing fingerings, I need to pay attention. Where is that happening? Why is it happening? Where am I struggling? Is it the high notes? Am I missing a fingering? But the slow tempo and the loud volume, and not hurtful loud, just strong. And then legato, that really gives me a lot of time to analyze what I'm doing when I'm playing. A similar but different approach is slow, loud, staccato. And staccato, just pinging those notes and getting them out the bell accurately, physically, that's a different sensation for me on trumpet. I just want it to really be nimble and accurate and no chips. Yeah, so there's sort of a variation on slow and loud, two different ways, legato and staccato. The place where I see students trip up the most is bar 7 and 8, the last two bars of this example. And remember, in bar 7, if you can, try to get the slide out for the low D. 1 and 3 is an out-of-tune fingering, so try to get that out there. Couple little bobbles in there, but I think I'm learning it pretty well. When I do this slowly and I feel like I'm building confidence with legato and staccato, then I'm just going to gradually speed up the tempo. And so that sort of focused, isolated repetition. Notice I'm not starting in bar 1. I'm looking at bar 7 and 8. I'm finding the problem. I'm really working on it. That's a great way to learn some technically challenging music. All right, let's talk about a very different example, track 3, which is a song etude. Notice all the slurs, notice the dynamics. I think you probably should pencil in the picture, the linear crescendos and diminuendos, maybe make sure you understand how long or short those crescendos and diminuendos are. Please mind the key signature. Notice those two flats in the key signature, and also the tempo. This is slow. Let me give it a shot here, and then I'll talk through a couple of the challenges. All right, here we go. All right, that one's tough, I think. So the common problem that I've seen with my students is, where the heck do I breathe? So you'll notice I took a breath in bar 4 after the dotted half note C. I have mixed feelings about that. I think that's a convenient place to breathe. I actually think it makes more musical sense to breathe in bar 5 between the octave Ds. But I find that my larger rib cage and larger lung capacity, a lot of my younger students can't play the phrases as long as maybe I can. So what I would suggest you look at is, where are some long notes or where are the ends of slurs where you might be able to breathe. For example, in the middle of bar 3, bar 4, bar 5, even after the downbeat of bar 6. I would not breathe at all of those places, but you should experiment with which one of those places might make the best sense musically for you, and also physically, what is possible. I think that you do not want to break the slurs. Even if it's easier to tongue an interval, please try to connect it with the slurs. Check your tempo, make sure you're close to 72 beats per minute. And the last thing, look at the articulations in bar 6. We have staccato eighth notes. I think it's interesting how you might want to interpret those. I don't think they should be pecky or overly accented or too brittle. I think they should be a little bit light. I think they should have, be more of a bum, 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 not dit, 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 dit. So not too dry, not too short, just a nice bounce to them, I think works really nicely. I think that's tricky. That is a tricky one. And again, it doesn't look that hard on the page, I don't think. But the wider skips, the slow tempo, and the slurs are challenging. And on top of that, physically, you just got to figure out how to navigate the breathing. Some really focused practicing, getting out your pencil and making marks, and then changing it if you change your mind. I think all that preparation yields better success than preparing it at the last minute. So that's a good one to just work on over several weeks and get it really, really strong. All right, last, track number 4. Track number 4 is a rhythmic etude. So obviously it's all about playing rhythms accurately, but of course we have to play the pitches accurately. I like to play this in a more staccato, marcato style, a little bit more militaristic. And I make sure that I'm thinking about how fast 16th notes are before I start playing. So here's my tempo, I think that's around 90. I'm thinking, so I can really nail these dotted 8th, 16th rhythms. Let me give it a try. Yeah, so the dotted 8 16ths is the probably the most misplayed rhythm in my experience as a music teacher and a professional musician and a conductor. It's just a tricky rhythm to really nail. So I like to use the word today. So I go day, today, 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 not day, today, today, day, today, today, day, today, da, 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 day to triple a bum. And you can hear my sort of vocalizing it. That's a great way to practice it. Like if the rhythm, getting the rhythm down, just take the trumpet out of the equation and scat the rhythm, sing the rhythm, count the rhythm, clap the rhythm, tap the rhythm. Because if the rhythm isn't super solid, like playing it on trumpet isn't going to make it easier. So mentally, we got to own the rhythm before we do it. I hope you can hear the space I'm trying to put between notes. Nothing's being held really full value except the last note, the half note. You could play that with a big fat full value sound. I just feel like this is more in that military style that I described. I breathe in bar 4 after the quarter note. And again, in bar 5, I try to play the triplets maybe a little bit longer, not quite so staccato. I want to kind of shove it in the listener's ear. I want to sort of make sure they understand, hey, these are triplets now, not eighth notes or sixteenths or dotted sixteenths. We got a different rhythm. So I emphasize it, not I don't think with much volume change, but definitely with a little bit of style change, a little bit more tenuto or legato. Let me give it one more shot. I think this one's fun. All right. So none of the examples that I played are perfect. You'll notice that I chipped some notes. The tone could be a little better, or maybe my third valve slide wasn't out as far as it should have been on some notes. And part of me doing this in one take and trying to be a little bit vulnerable and just, show you how I might do it is to remind you that although we seek perfection in music, none of us are perfect. We do the best we can. When you work on this audition, I know that you want to be perfect and play everything at your best. Everybody has good and bad days. Some things go better or worse depending on the circumstance. When you make a recording, you go through the process, you learn a lot. So keep your eye on the prize. It's about growing as a musician. It's about setting a goal and following through with it. Let yourself not be perfect, and don't let yourself don't be too hard or judge yourself as success or failure based on just your musical accuracy. Every time you play, there's an opportunity for you to grow. And again, I think that when you work on this audition stuff, it's one of those fabulous opportunities for you. On a totally different note, I miss making music. I'm looking forward to hopefully getting back to music, and I hope that this helps you. I also hope I'll see you at a Seattle Wind Symphony concert sometime this next year. So check out our website, subscribe to our Facebook page, and I'll look forward to seeing you in a musical situation really soon. Take care.